Boom. I want to talk about one of my favorite subjects, which is mentorship. But this is a this is a story that kind of maybe talks about the backside or not picking the right mentor, or at least an honest mentor. When I got accepted into both the Navy to go to officer school, or what's called for my path Officer Candidate School (OCS), which is out in Florida, and then to go on to follow on SEAL training. I was at the time living stateside. I'm up in a mountain community that I was staring a winter in the face, and I was going to start training late in the spring. And it occurred to me it wouldn't be a great place for me to get water time and to get ready for SEAL training. So I sold this old Jeep I had. I flew over to Maui, Hawaii, where I had one friend that I knew, got off the plane, basically hitchhiked to his house in, sadly, Lahaina, which basically got wiped out by that big fire. But I lived in Maui for about 10 months, getting ready to come into SEAL training. Talk about a great window of time in your life. I owned almost nothing. I got a job waiting tables or working in a restaurant, which had cash in my pocket. All I had to do was eat, surf, train, have a good time. And it was a great window of time in my life. And I still have great friends from that time. The restaurant that I worked at was a new restaurant. And one of the managers that worked the shifts and kind of managed the shifts there heard from people talking that I was going to start SEAL training. And someone told me like, oh, Terry, this manager, was a SEAL. And so I'd never met a SEAL face to face. I have another great SEAL story that I can't remember if I told. If I haven't, I will tell it. But I'd never actually met a SEAL. And so I go up to him. I said, "Hey, Terry, I'm Rourke. I'm on B shift or whatever it was. I'm training to go to SEALs. I mean, I have a spot. I'm going to SEAL training. I understand you're a SEAL. Would love to pick your brain and get some time in." He absolutely is like, "No, I heard about you. I've been wanting to come over and say hello. I'm not here at the same time. Would love to get some time in and mentor you and talk about SEALs." And I'm like, this is like striking gold, in a austere location where I wouldn't think I'd find a SEAL. So over the next couple weeks, we started to get to know each other. Good guy, fit, and we'd go on runs. And I remember at one point he's like, "Do you feel comfortable in the water?" I was like, I'm that won't be the part that's going to get me in SEAL training. I'm good in the water." But he's like, "Well, a lot of people feel that way." And then we do the drown proofing where we tie your hands behind your back and you got to bob and travel and do all these things. "Let's go to the pool and test it." I'm like, "Sounds good." He ties my hands behind my back, feet together, jump in the water. I have no problem. It's easy. He's like, "Oh, you're good to go. This is going to be great." And so I finished my time there in Hawaii. I come back stateside. I go out to OCS out in Florida. My mom's in Colorado at the time. I finish OCS, and so now I'm driving across the country to get to SEAL training in San Diego. And as I get home to Colorado, I don't know how this happened to line up, but I get a note. I can't remember in that era if it was email or it was probably early email, literally. And Terry was in the town my mom was in Colorado. He's like, "I knew you were from Colorado. I just wanted to reach out." And I was like, "I'm here tonight, man. I leave tomorrow to go out to San Diego. Is there any way we can get together?" He's like, "Love to come see you for dinner." We get dinner that night with my mom, some family, friends. Everybody's kind of saying goodbye. I remember Terry needs to leave, so we go walking out, and I walk him out, and he's like, "Hey," and I just kind of say to my guys, I'm like, "Hey, thanks so much for mentoring me and helping me and talking about the mindset and stuff. I'm really excited to start training. I know it's going to go well." And I'll never forget this send off. He says, "I'm just excited for you. I'm excited that you're going to be joining this, kind of this warrior culture, and getting out to basic training is the best. I mean, you're going to be running on the beach. You're going to be paddling through the surf. You're going to be learning to shoot and jump and, rappelling off the rocks in front of the Hotel Del and swimming in the combat tank and moving on. I'm jealous. I wish I could do it with you." I said, "Hey, I appreciate it." I shake his hand. He takes off. And it's funny. I'd read a bunch about SEAL training, and I'd actually been to San Diego to do my PT test to get into SEAL training. I'd run up the beach. I'd run past the Hotel Del, and the rocks, the jetty of rocks that goes out to kind of protect that section of beach, which is super famous in SEAL training. So it'd be appropriate to talk about it. We come in and land our boats in big surf. It's called rock portage during Hell Week. Very dangerous evolution. But those rocks at low tide are maybe 10, 12 feet off the ground. You could not rappel off the rocks at the Hotel Del. And he was already out of sight and on his way when it finally struck me that this guy was not a SEAL, had probably read a book or two, claimed he was a SEAL, and now was like helping me along my path. I hope I've never run into Terry, but now that this is public, if you know a guy that, worked on a restaurant in Lahaina as a manager named Terry, and you want to give me his address, feel free. I'm going to leave him alone, but let me know. It's just funny to think in terms of that he actually had a lot of good things to say and in kind of helping me think about the path, but was a total phony and fraud. So when this person was asking me about mentors, I said, hey, when you pick a mentor, give credit, but verify and make sure they're the real thing. You don't want to be getting false information from a false prophet. Verify who they are. Pick your mentors wisely. They'll carry you far. Ever onward.